Hi, well, you've caught me just having a cup of coffee. Just pondering, as one does, thinking back, and I'm just thinking about how motorcycle industry is going, how the UK motorcycle industry is going, if we have a motorcycle industry. There's lots and lots of bikes on the market, um, and 99% of them are imported. Whether or not they're under the different names and manufacturers of old UK manufacturers, be that AJS, BSA, um, Rough Superior, you name it. But most of them, well, I would say all of them to an extent, are made abroad and bought over. And the majority, of course, are made in China. If not the whole, then possibly the engine and a lot of the major components, which I find a little bit unsettling myself. I don't know how you feel about this, but for me, um, would you go and buy a Chinese manufactured motorcycle? And we got well over half a dozen different Chinese makes now, known makes on the market, besides the English makes, or under, as I say, the name of BSA and Ariel and Matchless and so forth. But it's a case of where they're manufactured, and the main Chinese manufactured bikes, and let's face it, the specs are brilliant now, absolutely brilliant. All the bells and whistles, everything you could want. You don't have to go out and buy extras. All the extras are included, and they are fantastic value for money. But then, when you think about it, they would be, wouldn't they? The Chinese state subsidises all their manufacturing, especially the manufacturing that's going abroad. And they're doing this with the car industry. You've only got to look, and motor manufacturers, dealerships in the UK admit this. It's a known fact that you would be approached by Chinese dealerships and asked whether you'd like to take on. And they are willing to sell at a loss. I mean, the dealer will get a very good deal. He will get a very good profit margin. The manufacturer, meanwhile, is not getting such a good deal. But, and the big but is, of course, they are subsidised by the Chinese state. And they're doing that so that you'll look and say, right, there's fantastic product, and they have improved in leaps and bounds, there's no doubt about it. But, and the big but is, how long will this go on for? And they quite openly admit that they will take over the car market, not in the UK, but worldwide. I mean, that is the intention of the Chinese state, to take over manufacturing worldwide, and they're quite open about it. So they're doing that with our car manufacturing, and of course now they've started on the bikes. And this is completely unlike when we had the Japanese invasion, if you like, of our manufacturing. They weren't looking to take over the world dominance in manufacturing. They were just bloody good, and you paid the price for their excellent engineering. And of course now they've been taken over by the Chinese, which are undercutting the Japanese, who can't have the same sort of amount of pull as what the Chinese do, because they're being, as I say, subsidised by the state. And when you think how cheap their manufacturing costs are, labour, but also energy. China's still using coal-fired generators, and yes, they're promoting solar panels, wind power, etc., etc. Of course they will. We're paying through the nose for it. To them, car batteries, Chinese, yeah, let's all go green. But I think we're going to lose the service that we had. Through other videos, you will know that I had several Vincents, and they were manufactured up in Stevenage. I say up in Stevenage, just when I lived down in London, so it was up. Now it will be down, because of the point of where I live in the country. Right, let's get back to some sense. I had the throttle jam on my Vincent, and when you've got the throttle wide open and it's jammed, you've got a problem. Now you put it into neutral, it's got no load, so the revs start to go up and up and up, and you know at some point something's going to give. You quickly dash to try and pull the spark plug leads off the plugs. The only way to stop the engine is to pull the plugs off. But before I could actually do that, stopping the bike, clutching, try and find neutral, try to work out what's gone wrong, and then you've got to stop the engine. By that time it's too late. The revs have gone up to God knows what, and I mean it was screaming, and then you got the big bang and literally dropped the valve onto the piston, and not a good job. Anyway, what I'm getting to is to strip the engine, and it needed a new piston, and it needed a new valve, exhaust valve that dropped. Apart from that, it was in pretty good condition. Cleaned it all up. Go to Vincent's at Stevenage, or Harper Engineering it was back then, who were doing all the Vincent spares, and they were still making Vincent's as well, but it was Harper Engineering. And I went in there and said, I need an exhaust valve, blah, blah, blah. And they said, yeah, no problem, blah, blah, blah. And I said, I also need a piston, standard size, blah, blah, blah. Oh, yes, right. Went away, came back. Oh, we haven't got any in stock. Apologise for that. We are getting some stock in. We are producing engines for people, but all the pistons have been put into bikes and so on and that. So I was very disappointed, but they said, well, have you come far? Are you in a hurry? I said, well, I'm not particularly in a hurry. He said, well, if you can hang about for, you're willing to wait sort of an hour and a half, we can get you a new piston out of a bike. So they were willing to strip. Can you imagine this? Willing to strip an engine to get me a piston to get me going. Now that is service. That is good old honest service. I was blown away by that. Very good. So I got my valve and I got my piston. It was brand new, put in a brand new engine. I came away from there, rebuilt the engine on my bike, and it ran perfectly. Thank God I hadn't bent the con rod or done any other damage within the bike. I had no bits or piston rings or whatever going down into the crankcase, so I was very lucky there. But it was the service. Now, would you get that service now? I doubt it. And likewise, now I've got a Royal Enfield. All right, I know they're made in India, but they're made in the same way and style of, if you like, a British bike. And production's been going for a long time. And they've made millions of these bikes worldwide, or they've been exported worldwide and they've travelled worldwide. But you can get parts just about anywhere for them. They are so simple to work on, they're so easy, and the parts are so easy and cheap to get. And I think that will be like that for many years to come, which I doubt will be the same situation with Chinese bikes with so many different models. Trying to convey how things were back in the day and how things are now, or how I perceive them to be now anyway. I'm going by my son's experiences and his friends' experiences with modern machinery and other people's and mine, as I say, back in the day. We were on a trip to Wales, in fact to Ruffin in North Wales. We'd been up that way when we'd been on the Dragon Rally, but we thought it would be nice to go up and see the scenery in summer and catch some of the sights. I like the idea of some of the local castles and such like. But anyway, we ended up in Ruffin, which is Jones the Field at Ruffin. Basic field. Half of the field was used for sheep, and there was a little wire electric fence run across. So our part, which was the camping part, and the other part for grazing sheep. And we'd gone up, there was 3 bikes, well, 2 outfits. I had my Vincent outfit, and a friend had a 1936 Norton International outfit with a Steyr sidecar. Very nice, very, very nice. Hairspring valves, not encased, so literally you just got your legs got covered in oil. But a very quick machine, very quick, very interesting machine. And as I say, I was on my Vincent outfit, which had a Watsonian copy, if you like, of the Steyr on that style of sidecar. Not anywhere as near as good as the original Steyr, but it was made more for sort of family, that sort of thing. Anyway, we'd gone up, let's say, to Wales, and there was a little bit of a competition between me and my mate Jack, who had the Inter, and he was always boasting about how good Nortons were. And I would say, well, you know, we have a job to beat the Vincent. engineering wise, yeah, all sorts of different things we used to argue with. Anyway, the outcome was he blew his inter up. The big end went, the bearings went, and we were in the middle of this field. Now, what do you do in those circumstances? You've got a 1936 Norton International, and you've blown the engine. Well, back in those days, we didn't really think, well, a great deal about it, but you know, you'd be willing to strip things down. So we all got to work, took the engine out, stripped it down to the flywheels and conrod. There's no, well, we wouldn't be able to split the flywheels to get to the big end anyway. So we thought, well, we need literally a complete crankshaft and conrod. That's what we needed. So we set off around some of the local garages, and we went up to Chester and some of the small motorcycle dealerships up there. Now you've got to remember, this is sort of mid-60s, getting on a bit from just after the mid-60s. And we found this little old shop down a side street. Didn't look particularly fantastic, but it was an original shop, hadn't been updated since the 1920s, I wouldn't have thought. But it looked like one of those places where you actually get down to the nuts and bolts, which is the sort of place that we were looking for. Anyway, we went in, didn't hold out a great deal of hope, but the chap behind the counter said, well, what can we do for you lads? And we pulled out of this bag blooming great flywheel and conrod and slapped it onto the desk and said, we would like one of these. They said, what's that? It's a 1936 Norton International flywheel conrod. And he looked and he said, well, I haven't seen one of those in a long, long time. He said, do you know what? He bent down under the bench or under the counter, pulled out a flywheel and conrod from Norton International. Now, this is no word of a lie. No word of a lie. I mean, it sounds hard to believe, but this was true. You can imagine our response. I mean, we nearly fell over. We couldn't believe it. You know, there it was, match by match. He put this on the counter, identical, apart from the fact that the bearings were good. I can't remember what he charged for it. It wasn't a great deal of money, but we were just gobsmacked, absolutely gobsmacked. So we ended up leaving there, thanking the chap and paying the money, getting back to the campsite, spanners back out, and within about 2 hours the engine was assembled, back in the frame and running. I wonder if you'd be able to do that now with modern machines. Yeah, makes you think. But that was the sort of service and sort of thing. We were lucky, undoubtedly, but it wasn't terribly rare for that sort of thing to be able to go and get parts, and for people to put themselves out for you as well. That is the other thing. It does make a big difference. So, Here's some photos. The first photo shows Jack's bike in the field, in the campsite. Unfortunately, I didn't take any photographs while it was complete. The photograph is the International minus the engine, which we'd taken out. The other photographs are of us working on the bike to get the engine out and ascertain exactly what the problem was and whether it's going to be repairable. And the other photograph is my Vincent outfit that we went. Now, when the engine blew on the Inter, we hadn't quite made it to the campsite, so I ended up towing Norton International outfit behind my outfit, 4 up, and of course the Vincent did it no problem at all. It didn't worry it at all. There's no problem. So from that time on, I think my friend Jack, with all his bluster about how marvellous Nortons were, didn't hear quite so much from him as he was being towed by Vincent, which he disliked, to say the least. That was just an amusing little anecdote from way back when. But yeah, we had some fun back then. Thought I'd just throw that in the mix. Okay. And I know they're using the same engine in different models, but only for so long, up to a point. Sounds a bit doom and gloom, doesn't it, really? But I wonder if you've ever considered this when sort of contemplating getting a Chinese bike, or whether you already got one. Excuse me while I finish my coffee. It's just starting to get a little bit on the cool side now. Yeah. So that, I mean, what should I be worried for? The age I am, it's not going to affect me. But I think what's going to happen in the future. And being dominated by basically one country that's going to do a good 95% of the manufacturing within the world. Yeah, for me, I don't think it looks that good or that healthy. Right, we'll get back to this in a minute.